Irish Guy, and the Super League is back. And yes, I know after the horrible spring of 2021, where suddenly we had Gary Neville barking down the camera lens with all the gusto of Bugs Bunny on steroids. Oh yeah, we've been conditioned to associate the word Super League to be about as clever an idea as eating sausages that you just found halfway down the toilet of a pig. I get it, okay? Just the word Super League sends a shiver down my spine as I was just touched on the shoulder by Kevin Spacey. The Super League is like that bad movie villain who just won't die. Honestly, they're like Michael Myers, Magneto, or Jaws, or even that old fella from James Bond who clearly keeps inappropriately touching his cat. My point is that we thought the Super League was defeated. We all celebrated in the street, but just like Voldemort, oh, it's back! And how sheepish do you think the Premier League owners are right now? I mean, John Henry of Liverpool literally had to beg for forgiveness while sitting next to a dead daffodil, almost having to squeeze out a fake tear to show that how much he regretted signing up for the Super League in his moment of weakness. Honestly, it was probably like a window into the marriage of Wayne Rooney, begging his wife to overlook the grandmother underpants she found underneath his pillow. But how awkward must the Premier League owners feel right now? Because you just know, oh, they are still tempted. But the thing is, with these new Super League proposals, when I actually read them, I'm not actually vomiting Weetabix onto the floor. Maybe I'm the problem for even giving these proposals the time of day. Sure, maybe I am just a naive 11-year-old boy who asked that creepy stranger in the car just how many Toblerones he's got in the boot of his van. But I am actually not as enraged by these Super League plans as I was 2 years ago. Lads, A22 Sports Management is the company promoting a revamped European Super League. They wanted it to be a multi-division competition featuring 60 to 80 teams, no permanent members, and with each club playing a minimum 14 games per season. I mean, the huge concerns about the first Super League was that we all thought it would be a closed shop, that the biggest teams from every league would be ripped out of their divisions and just chucked into some elitist palace, where they would never again have to play against the peasants of Burnley, Espanyol, or Fiorentina ever again. It would be a hideous, warped reality where suddenly we'd be seeing teams like Lazio dominate Serie A. I mean, can you imagine the Premier League without Arsenal, Man City, Man United, Liverpool, and weirdly Tottenham for some reason? It would just be the next 50 years of Newcastle United chucking Saudi money all over the place, with their nearest challengers for the league title being Wolves, Leicester, and West Ham. Christ above, match of the day would suddenly be about as pointless as Gogglebox. But under these rules, the domestic leagues would still be the backbone of football. I mean, they're not touching that. This would just replace the Champions League. So let me get this straight. If it's an 80-team competition, surely it'll be, what, 4 or 5 European tiers? I mean, we essentially already have that with UEFA now, because we've got the Champions League, the Europa League, and I'm sorry, where was the outrage for the Conference League? You know, the most pointless competition in the history of sport, and clearly created just to line the pockets of UEFA fat cats. And yet, I don't remember Pete from Plymouth throwing his chicken nuggets across the pub when that tournament was formed. Lads, we are already living in a world where people thought that the Europa League was an unnecessary loser's cup. I mean, does nobody remember when Martin O'Neill, when coaching Aston Villa in Europe, chose to forfeit a game in Moscow by sending out a bunch of kids? I mean, lads, it was a European match and he had Marlon Harewood on the pitch. I mean, I played against Marlon Harewood last year. I mean, sure, I tried to dribble past him and pretty much got an elbow in the teeth. Most English teams who compete in the Europa League these days are embarrassed to be there anyway. I mean, do you really think Manchester United want to yet again be playing in a tournament where Fulham and Middlesbrough reached the final? Inside the last 10 years, the likes of Burnley, Wolves, Southampton, Hull, Swansea, Wigan, Birmingham, and Stoke have competed in this thing. I remember the days when AC Milan were playing against Portsmouth. I mean, Millwall were in it 20 years ago. So admit it, most Manchester United fans being in this competition, to them, oh, it's probably like Prince William being asked to have lunch at Burger King. Yeah, he'd probably sooner blind himself in the eye with a spoon. But the Conference League, this is only its second year in existence. But here are some teams who have competed in this thing already. FK Budoknost Podgorica. Sounds like a type of Vaseline for dogs. I mean, who else? FC Alashkert, St. Johnstone, Borak Banja Luka, Shakhtar Soligorsk, Ashdod, Torpedo Zodino, Pogon Zeksakin. I'm sorry, is that you reading through a foreign brand of Pokemon cards? Can you really look anybody in the eye and be proud of a European tournament that features teams like Petra Club Hinchesti, Swift Hesperanaj, Cliftonville, and Bruno's Magpies? The last one just sounds like the name of a van which sells sausage rolls. So what is the huge issue here? The Super League would mean that the UEFA competitions would be ripped apart, but So, does nobody remember how many dud tournaments that UEFA have produced? Does nobody remember the Intertoto Cup, where you were just given a certificate? Harry Redknapp has won this competition. I mean, Newcastle won it in 2006, and their manager, Glenn Roeder, didn't even realise.
Someone mentioned it to me at the gate this morning, a bemused Roeder said. The lads will be pleased.
The lads will be pleased. That's their reaction to winning a European trophy. The same way as if someone had just told them that they'd be having donuts for lunch. Lads, this competition was such a mess that Newcastle actually won it by only playing one team in the Intertoto Cup. Norwegian side Lille Strøm. They beat them 4-1 over 2 legs, meaning that Newcastle were then one of 11 co-winners who then qualified for the second round of the Europa League. Basically, Newcastle then were the team who went the furthest of all the 11 winners in the Europa League. I mean, they got knocked out in the last 16, but yeah, it meant they won the Intertoto Cup. They only went one round further than Blackburn, and they got dumped out by an average AZ Alkmaar. And yeah, you're giving them a European trophy? UEFA have made so many stupid decisions in the past. I mean, look at what they've done with the Champions League. Instead of 8 groups of 4, now, from the 24-25 season onwards, now all the clubs are going to be placed into one huge league table. Suddenly, it's now going to be based on the Swiss system tournament used in chess. Great, so all this proves is that too many bigwigs at UEFA just watch too much Queen's Gambit over lockdown, because this is almost as disgusting as the Super League. How confusing is it gonna be when we're watching nearly 40 teams in the same league table? But they won't play everyone in the table, oh no. Just 8 or 10 matches against opponents based on seeding. So some teams just won't play each other, despite being in the same division. I'm sorry, but that's like putting a bunch of strangers together on a table at a wedding and telling none of them to speak to each other. Just 9 lads from Wigan just awkwardly staring into the mashed potato for 3 hours. It gets worse. From 2024, there will be an extra 2 places in the Champions League reserved for European clubs who have failed to qualify for the Champions League via their domestic league, but they'll get in based on the UEFA coefficient ranking. Great! So suddenly, all jeopardy is just removed from the Premier League. I, for one, was actually relieved by the growth of Man City, because when I was growing up, the top 4 did not move. It was the unbreakable top 4. Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool and Chelsea would qualify for the Champions League every year. But when Man City came along, and suddenly the rise of Spurs under Pochettino, oh, it actually made the battle for top 4 exciting. But no, not anymore. No, because Liverpool or Chelsea can now just finish 5th and still make it in because they've won the Champions League in the past. But if, say, Newcastle or Fulham finish 5th, will they still qualify? No, there'll be more chance of Will Smith sneaking into the next Oscars. How unfair is that? By the way, just a quick interruption to let you know to subscribe, you absolute legends. And also, this video is sponsored by Wash and Go. Yeah, I know, lads, I've been banging on about this for a while, but honestly, Wash and Go, this little tube is going to save your life. Again, only if you have hair. Otherwise, I don't know, if you're bald, I guess you could use it as a decoration beside your bed. But lads, honestly, pretty simple. Use this on your hair and you'll feel like you're swimming in the clouds. Lads, look at my face in the shower. Don't I look happy to you? As if I've just been given a hug by my dad? Lads, the Wash and Go 2-in-1 formula combines the cleansing power of shampoo with the health hair benefits of conditioner, all in one convenient step. The 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner is formulated with nourishing ingredients that work to strengthen and moisturize your hair, leaving it soft, shiny, and manageable. Honestly, lads, don't make me shave Niels' hair off again. Listen, okay? This is what you need to get. Link in the description, back into the video. It's like a 5-star Hollywood nightclub letting in a clearly drunk Justin Bieber. But I mean, the minute the bouncers see a scruffy fog dad waiting in the queue, oh, they'll instantly throw the poor man into a bunch of bins. How is this Super League any different? UEFA are choosing to tinker with competitions that we love just because they want more cash. The Champions League group stages will be a thing of the past. Where is the outrage in that? Why are people not kicking up more of a fuss? Are we actually supposed to look at UEFA as the good guys? No, they've already created a Super League, but they just keep calling it the Champions League and expect none of us to notice. These Super League plans, if they are successful and actually manage to replace the UEFA competitions, I might not actually be all that fussed. It's practically the same thing that we already have. I mean, this will be an open system with revenue spread evenly across the teams. Because right now, don't UEFA pocket most of the money before sprinkling the breadcrumbs around the clubs? The Champions League generates over €3 billion a year. Each club in the tournament receives a £13 million starting fee to compete in the group. Is that it? the price of a Danny Ings. You get paid £2.4 million for a win, £802,000 for a draw. I mean, if you go all the way and win the Champions League, then over the course of the tournament, you'll make between 60 and 70 million pounds from a company who, again, earns £3 billion a year? How is this fair? Chelsea essentially blew their entire Champions League winnings on the Brighton left back. I mean, Real Madrid clearly chose to use last year's Champions League win just to buy Aurelien Tchouameni. Teams clearly don't win the Champions League for the cash. I mean, last season, Jose Mourinho helped Roma win the Conference League. The entire tournament run earned them less than 10 million quid. 10 million. Yeah, Mourinho spent 3 times that on Shevchenko nearly 17 years ago. Let's pretend that Newcastle qualify for the Champions League next season. Let's just say they finish bottom of their group. That means that they'll only play 3 European games at St James's Park all season long. But under the Super League plans, you play a minimum of 14. 7 at home, 7 away. That will generate a lot of money and could actually be a bit of a leg up for the smaller teams to grow. There are so many problems with UEFA and their competitions that they just keep on birthing for no reason. Are they really surprised now there's actually a competitor? This is a company who sits on so much of the money. You'd swear they were run by Dana White. Yes, the Super League plans in 2021 were awful. A closed shop, it was elitist, terrible. But now, this version of the Super League is not ideal. But I'm sorry, when I see UEFA just absolutely destroying the Champions League format that we're all used to, what, just because they're bored? Then no, these Super League plans don't actually make me feel like getting sick up my nose. To me, I'm just a bit... Alright then, I'll hear you out at least. Maybe, just maybe, this revamped open competition Super League might actually be worth listening to. Maybe. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think of the Super League plans? Am I completely off my nut? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe. As always, I'll talk to you in a while.